You're charged with terroristic threat of a family or household member. That makes it a Class A misdemeanor, so you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine.
On April 22nd, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, law enforcement officers were dispatched to a family disturbance call. Law enforcement officers made contact with the complaining witness, who was the defendant's wife for 15 years. The law enforcement officers could hear the defendant yelling inside of the house. Law enforcement officers detained the defendant. The complaining witness stated she was shoved by the defendant and fell on a chair, and that the defendant then stated he was going to punch her with his fist, and that he was punching his own hand in a threatening manner. A witness, the defendant's son-in-law, stated he heard the defendant threaten the complaining witness and saw the defendant punching his own hand in a threatening manner.
What's again?
The threat, the defendant then stated he was going to punch her with his fist and that he was punching his own hand in a threatening manner.
Mr. Rodriguez, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. I see that we have a prior assault from 2024 and 2 prior
All right, buckle up. This one got real fast. On April 22nd, 2025, a routine call in Harris County, Texas, spun into something far more serious. Cops responded to what was first described as a family disturbance. But when they stepped inside the home, they were met with a much darker picture. The man's wife, his partner for 15 years, told officers he shoved her into a chair and hovered over her with a clenched fist, full of rage. And this wasn't just her story. Their son-in-law backed it up, saying he heard every word and saw the whole thing unfold. Witnesses said the guy was pounding his hand like he was ready to explode. What began as a domestic call ended in a Class A misdemeanor. And trust, that's no slap on the wrist.
See if they're all the same complaining witness. I see the assault is the same complaining witness. One BPO is... No, now's not the time.
Judge, we can see on our end, they are all the same complaining.
Okay. Mr. Rodriguez, I want you to understand something and let me make it clear to you. I'm going to protect every person in my county. I don't care who they are, what color they are, if they're a small farm animal. I will protect every single person. And if you become a danger to my community, I only have one place for you. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
I don't want you to have any contact with the complaining witness in this case, and I'm going to put a monitor on you so I know where you are. I don't want you to go within 1,000 feet of where she lives or where she works. Do you understand?
She's my boss. She hired me. I work with her. She's the GM.
I don't care what's going on. All I want is my city protected.
Yes,
and
sir.
the idea is that I don't want you to have any kind of run-ins with her. You guys have work.
No leniency here, the judge wasn't having it. The courtroom atmosphere turned icy when it came out that this man had a history, an assault charge from 2024, and 2 violations of protective orders, all targeting the same victim. That was all the judge needed. Boom, no contact order, no weapons, GPS monitor slapped on without hesitation. The man tried to throw out a few weak defenses, but they didn't even make it past the bench. This wasn't about feelings, it was about safety. The judge's tone made it clear. This courtroom doesn't play games when lives are at risk.
And then something drastic happens, and I'm trying to prevent
Yes, sir.
something nuclear from going down. And the best way to do that is to keep you guys away from each other. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If you have cancer, you cut it out. Otherwise, it kills you. Sometimes in your life, you have people who are a cancer to you, and if you don't cut it out, you end up in custody with a very long sentence. This is now your 5th case regarding the same person. Do you catch my drift?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer?
No, sir.
I can have you fill out an application. I'll take a look to see whether you qualify. I need to know everything about you. I also don't want you to be in possession of weapons.
No, I don't have no
If you qualify, I'll give you a lawyer today. But I'm telling you now, I don't know who you have in this world, but if I find that you're a danger and I have to make your bond $10,000, $15,000, $30,000,
Yes, sir.
you don't have anyone to pony up, you'll be stuck like Chuck. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Come on. Sir, you're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you.
At this point, dude's fresh out of lifelines. The judge, cold, direct, and unflinching, locked eyes with him and said, Cut out the toxic behavior or end up behind bars. And then, the real hammer dropped. This is your fifth case, involving the same person. You could feel the air leave the room. The judge didn't mince words. Cut it out or rot. Even the excuse about not affording a lawyer didn't slow the system down. A $30,000 bond was dropped like a trapdoor, and the message was clear. If he doesn't get it together fast, he's stuck like Chuck.
You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. On April 22nd, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, law enforcement officers observed a motor vehicle with no front license plate. A traffic stop was conducted. Law enforcement officers made contact with the defendant and observed a strong odor of marijuana. The defendant stated to law enforcement officers that he has a handgun in the vehicle. The defendant admitted to having smoked marijuana in the car previously. The law enforcement officers located the marijuana and a handgun inside of the defendant's motor vehicle. The marijuana weighed approximately 55.7 grams.
Mr. Williams, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. You mind running his license, please? I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to be in possession of weapons. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If you do not have a license and liability insurance in your name, you're not allowed to drive, and that is also a bond condition of yours.
And just when you thought it was over, here comes round two. Different case, same mess. Mr. Williams is back in the spotlight, and this time he's charged with unlawful possession of a firearm. What started as a traffic stop for a missing license plate turned into a full-on felony bust. Officers caught a whiff of weed, and sure enough, 55.7 grams of marijuana and a loaded gun were chilling in the car. Oh, and he admitted to lighting up while driving. You can't make this up. What could have been a citation turned into a criminal showcase, and the judge didn't hesitate. No weapons, no driving, and maybe no freedom.
Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
We're going to give you time. I will have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, I'm going to have you take a seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it, and after that, you'll be free to go.
All right.
Don't pick up any new cases.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, his license is eligible.
Great. Okay, please. So do you mind finding those conditions, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sign for your reset.
Why did you miss court, ma'am? Sorry? When you don't come to court, we issue a warrant and you end up going to jail. I'm going to reinstate your bond, but I'm not going to do this again. The next time you miss court and I have to issue a warrant, you will go to jail. Do you understand me? No more get out of jail free cards. This is it. Ma'am, you're charged with theft. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney appointed if you cannot afford one, ma'am.
Williams should count himself lucky, but just barely. He rolled in with no license, no insurance, and no sense of reality. He really thought he'd just walk out clean? Not a chance. The court cracked down hard with tight bond conditions and mandatory drug testing. The judge made it crystal clear. One more slip, and it's over. "Don't catch another case," he barked, locking eyes with Williams like a warning flare. His license hanging by a thread. His freedom even thinner. Sitting in that jury box, sweating bullets, Williams knew one wrong step could land him right back in cuffs.
On April 21st, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, law enforcement officers were dispatched to a shoplifting call at JCPenney and made contact with the complaining witness, a loss prevention officer. The complaining witness stated the defendant entered the store and placed 2 swimsuit sets in a black purse, then passed all points of sale and exited the store. The total value of the merchandise was $144.
This is the co-defendant to yesterday's theft, right?
That's correct, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Joy, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to go back to JCPenney and not to be in contact with the co-defendant in this case. Do you understand? What do you do for a living? Did you graduate from high school?
Next up, a teenager already sliding down the wrong path. She's just 18, but her choices are catching up fast. She skipped a court date, and while the judge agreed to reinstate her bond, the tone shifted. No more second chances. She was busted. For stealing $144 worth of swimsuits. Sounds petty, right? But it was a glaring red flag. To make it worse, she was tied to a co-defendant from the day before. The judge shut it all down. No more visits, no contact, no slip-ups. The message was raw. Grow up fast or crash even faster.
I'm sending you now for a drug test. I want to know if anything is in your system and you're to come right back. You're 18 and you have nowhere headed. That's not a good way to go through life. You know, you should never, ever have to depend on anyone, and you need to be a strong person to be able to work and make money. Because in this life, if you don't have money, this life sucks. And you're 18 and you're headed nowhere, where you're going to end up being dependent on someone. That's not a way to go through life. You need to get into school, get knowledge so you have a good job, so you can support yourself, so you don't have to rely on anyone, much less a man. Men suck. Don't rely on them. Be a strong woman. You understand? Okay, I'm sending you for a drug test. You're to come right back, and I'm going to appoint your lawyer today. Just take a seat for a minute.
Can I get her to sign real quick?
Yeah.
Tun Feng Yan. And Your Honor, she is in ICE custody. I'm having somebody email a copy of the document to the court clerk, and I have it here as well.
What? Send it to Victoria. Let me give you her email address.
Life doesn't care if you're barely legal. You mess up, you face the music. And this judge, he wasn't sugarcoating a thing. You're 18 and going nowhere, he told her, ordering a drug test right there on the spot. No school, no job, no direction. She was heading straight toward the edge. The courtroom morphed into a full-on wake-up call. The judge's words hit like tough love. Don't rely on anyone. Get educated, get a job, or get left behind. This wasn't just legal procedure. It was a gut check from reality. And he wasn't wrong. Dependence is a prison, but knowledge, that's your key.